was an influence from my parents. I remember when I was about 10, I got a picture book from my mom. It shows all the famous architecture from around the world. There's one image showing Falling Water by Frank Lloyd Wright. That was simply the most beautiful building I've ever seen. And that inspired me to think, okay, we can make buildings rather than just boxy, boring spaces, and we can there's a profession called architect, and suddenly made sense to me at that moment, because I know those are the people, architects, who actually gave values to ordinary spaces and create better living environments for everyone. And I think it's a very productive and rewarding profession. I build things, and I have decided to be an architect, to learn architecture first, actually. I worked in a company for about 2 or 3 years. And I found I developed a strong interest in research because, when I was working, architects often do some kind of informal research to help decision making in their design process. But when the project is done, the research just stops, actually. But I want to continue, and I want to get to the bottom of things, actually. So I decided to pursue a doctoral degree here in the States. And after I finished, I found I can share my knowledge and expertise with more people. So I decided I can teach a teaching assistant, actually, when I was still a doctoral student here. So that was about 3 years ago in 2011. And I was supposed to dealing with a bunch of sophomore students, actually. It was hard, actually, because at that time, actually, I find out that they speak a different type of English, sort of. They have their own language. The way they use words are very different than the way I learn English, because I mostly learn very technical and also very scholarly English from books, actually. And the students actually using a mixture of oral language and more scholarly language, actually. So that means there was a communication issue between me and my students, actually. They had a hard time to understand me, and I had a hard time to understand them, actually. But I think the architecture is still important, actually, but maybe not as important as we thought it to be, like before the 1970s or 80s, because in the past there are a lot of public projects around the world. So like the social housing projects, not just in the United States, but also in other parts of the world. So at that time, architects were shouldered a lot of social responsibilities, actually, to create better and more equal living environments for a broader range of population. But now architects are more working for the private sector, for the developers who can pay the price. But still, actually, we have our professional objectives and also our public concerns. So we're not just designing something to meet the demands of the private developers, but also reflect our concern for the public interest. So this is part of the professional ethics, actually. We don't just do our job for the money we got paid, actually, but also for a broader interests that we should actually respect and pay attention to.
At school to get my master's in architecture so I can one day become a certified architect. And goal is to continue practicing and maybe own my own firm or continue somewhere in the field of architecture. I want to do kind of like libraries and schools, public facilities where it brings a lot of people together. I've always been fascinated kind of in group work and leadership, team atmosphere, and so that's what I want to do with my architecture.
未来目标就是当个建筑师呀。
I would do anything that will help me to help the whole society. So basically, I'm interested in anything. Goal is to benefit the society. So I'm thinking more for the clients. But I think at the same time, I shall not lose my own characteristic when doing the design.